Very. So yeah, we're live on Facebook. So good evening, Mandy and everyone, especially to our members. Right now we have 25 participants on Zoom, and I'm gonna check on my Facebook. How many are there right now? Okay, Mandy, how are you?
I'm doing good. I was just apologizing for drinking because I have been talking all morning. So
Okay. So yeah. So yes, yeah, let's go on for our first candidate. So guys, if you're watching on Facebook, please make sure you tag your friends, especially for those who are gonna take this exam. And while watching, you need also to answer back in your home or at your work, but keep it a secret because it might be your supervisor is around. Okay, so please try to answer on your own. Okay, so let's bring for our first candidate, Gail Rocks.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, Miss Mandy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Hello,
too.
Sir
How are you
Joel.
too?
I'm good.
Yes.
Uh,
Hi, Gail.
it's
Gail, please
it's
tell us
almost
what's
midnight
your
here in the
name.
Philippines.
Yeah. Could you please tell us what's your name? What are you doing? Where are you right now?
Yeah, I'm Karen Gale Rojas. I am here in the Philippines right now. It's almost midnight here in our country, and yeah, I live in Bulacan. It's from Region 3 here in the Philippines. And well, I'm a nurse by profession. However, I'm not currently practicing my profession. Instead, I am working at a Philippine court as of the moment.
Okay. Gail, excuse me. Could you please try to speak on your near to your microphone? So let's just try. Because Mandy, is it clear?
Uh,
You can hear her.
She has a wonderful voice, but it is a
Okay.
little quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit far from your mic.
I understand that you may be at a place where you have to talk a little.
Okay. So yeah, I think she has kids. Okay, I'll give you now the
No
floor,
problem.
Mandy.
No problem. All right. So, Gail, we're going to go ahead and get started with part one. So, Gail, how often do you dance and sing? Dance or sing?
Oh, that's a very interesting question because I myself love to sing. So let's talk about dancing first, since I'm not that a good dancer actually. So I seldomly dance really for my entire life. Well, I have been dancing when I was in high school, but since then, um, I just dance whenever I try to make my little one sleep. That's the only time that I am dancing. When it comes to singing, well, I am actually a choir member in our church. So I often sing, especially during our worship services. I sing a lot. And that's what one of the things that I'm passionate about actually is singing. So, like a while ago, just this afternoon, I did a karaoke. I don't know if you are familiar with that, but here in the Philippines, Filipinos love to do karaoke. So, yeah, I often sing. As much as I want to sing, I do singing.
Good. All right. And are you good at dancing or singing?
I am not that good in dancing, but I think, to be fair with myself, I think I am good in singing.
Excellent. And does anyone in your family like to show their talents?
Oh, yes, almost each of us in our family. I'm talking about my own family, from my husband to me and my toddler. They love to show their talent. That's also in singing, and also my toddler, she loves to dance as well. Um, Especially right now, nowadays, when from social media, it is uh, every now and then you can see a lot of people showing their talent in dancing, singing, especially when my child watches TikTok. So she tries to imitate that. So I think she herself loves to show her talent, not only in singing, but most of all dancing.
Excellent. All right. And we're going to move on to part two. So you can get something to write with. I'm going to put it into the chat for everybody. And Jeff is going to put it on the screen as well. So can you see that okay, Gail?
Yes, I can see it clearly.
Okay, great.
Mandy.
Excellent. Wonderful. So I'm going to read that for you and then give you a minute to prepare. So the question is, describe a TV competition that you want to take part in. You should say what the competition is, how you knew about it, what you need to prepare for it, and explain why you want to compete. And you can have a minute to start now. Okay, and that is 1 minute, Gail, and you can begin speaking whenever you're ready.
Okay. Um, a TV competition that I would want to participate in, I think would be singing competition in the television. Um, well, I want to take part in it. It has been my dream to become a recording artist. Um, Way back when I was in college, I tried to audition, and I don't know, it just didn't go well. It's not that I wasn't accepted, but um, I think it was not my time that time. Well, if in my wildest dreams, or if I would be given an opportunity, I would join a singing competition on television. I knew about it because I see it, I watch it from TV shows, from a TV network here in the Philippines. And honestly, some people, when they hear me sing, not to brag about it, they try to convince me to join a singing contest. Um, but since I'm already a mom and I'm working full time, um, it's like I don't know, I discourage myself to join. Well, if ever I will be joining, I would prepare my, of course, practice uh, every now and then, and condition my voice by doing the things that would be beneficial to my singing. And well, if uh, the reason
Okay,
for
that's
me
your
to
time.
continue.
I'm sorry to cut you off. All right, let's go to
It's
part
okay,
three.
man.
That's okay. So, Gail, why do you think employers use, or why do you think some employers use competitions as work activities?
Mm, um, employers use this technique for like making their employees compete with each other. In my opinion, for them to strive more. If an employee would give their best to something to something, especially on their job, and somebody from that same agency or office would would be better from that person, then he would strive more to be better than the other. So I think um, uh, the employer poses these challenges so that uh, they would like level up, they would better themselves to that is for the benefit of the whole company or the whole agency, for example.
Good. All right. And is it a good thing to give prizes to employees who do well at work? And why or why not?
Well, I think that is the best thing to do when it comes to an uh, an office. Um, you know, like for me, if I did my best to if I did my best at work and I finished my job well, I've done well, I've done my completed my duties and responsibilities. It's just fair enough to receive some incentive prize, for example, because that would be a reward. That would make the employee feel satisfied and happy with what she or he does. Not only not only if not only if she loves her work, she loves doing her job, but also it serves as a motivation to become better or to do the best in your job.
Good. And would you say that professionals or people who have a degree in your country have become more or less competitive?
Professionals, uh, I I'm not that observant when it comes to that issue, but well, I will try to answer it. Nowadays, I think I think employees are less competitive now, especially that um, most of the workers here in the Philippines work from home. Um, we don't see our colleagues that much, so the level of competition, somewhat like that, is not that um, imminent. So I guess it's the only reason that I can think of that employees right now are less competitive here in our country.
Good. And that concludes the speaking portion of your test. You're done. Very good. I will say, when listening to you talk, I feel very calm and very soothed. I feel like I'm your toddler and you're calming me down. So you have a
That's
very
so.
calming tone. Your voice is very, you're not making anyone, you don't sound anxious or nervous. You just sound very calm and collected. And your pronunciation is almost, 100% accurate. It's very good. Maybe just some small slips, but nothing that I saw enough that I couldn't understand you. The main thing that I would work on, Gail, is shortening, which I haven't had to say that much to many people, but shortening your part one answer. So I have my notes in front of me. So you have the first question was about this long. The second question, the answer was about this long. And then the third question, you have another long answer. So when you talked about the first question, how often do you dance or sing, or dance and sing, dance or sing? It might be good for you to pick one or the other, which you did. You
Mm,
said, you said,
mm,
first, let me talk about in high school that I've danced ever since I was in high school. And then you talked about singing. But that part one is not meant to be like an entire essay or a part two question. So you may get stopped. And that's what I'm worried about for you. But if they stop you, just know that all the stuff that you know, that, sorry, if they stop you, you have enough information to use that in the subsequent questions. Does that make sense? So I
yes,
asked, how often do you dance or sing? And are you good at dancing or singing? Those were the two back to back questions. So maybe the first one you could talk about the singing, and then the second one you could talk about, the dancing. Um, so when you give a longer answer like that and keep it less concise, we have the tendency to maybe repeat the information a second time or repeat the same information, but just in a little bit of different way. And you want to make sure that we're not having repetition that's unnecessary. So, um, you said, I'm constantly singing and I'm passionate about singing and I sing as often and as much as I want to. So basically, you're saying I sing a lot, but you're saying it in three different ways. And that's great to know how to say it so many different ways, but especially in part one, it's okay just to shorten it up a little bit. So let me read what you said. Don't feel bad though. You did a great job. Let me read what you said. You said that's an interesting question because I myself love to sing. So if I talk about dancing first, I'm not that good of a dancer actually. So I seldomly dance. So we want to say I seldom dance. So you don't have to put the
seldom dance.
ly at the end of it. You said for my
I
entire
was
life.
hesitant about.
That's okay. For my entire life, I have been dancing when I was in high school, but since then, I just dance whenever I try to make my little ones dance, my little one dance. You said we are constantly singing. And then you moved on to the other topic. So if you're going to talk about two topics, tell me. So you can say, on the other hand, or on the flip
Okay.
side, if I talk about singing, so give me some kind of transition from one to the other so that I can
Yeah.
follow you. Does that make sense? So you're kind of like giving me a street sign and saying, okay, Mandy, first we talked about dancing. Here's your sign. Now we're going to move and talk about singing. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So you said, we are constantly singing. I am actually a choir member in our church, so I often sing, especially during our worship services. And that's one of the things I'm passionate about. Just this afternoon, I did a karaoke, and you talked about that. I would love for you to just have this part as your answer because it is beautiful. So you can say, I say, how often do you dance or sing? You could answer to me. You said, we are constantly singing in my house. I am actually a choir member and yada 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 and go on and you gave a specific time when you just sang recently. So this is a beautiful answer. I just think you don't need to have the dancing because singing is what you're good at.
Okay.
Okay. So here you gave a really good response for anyone who may be good at dancing or anyone who might be into singing. So yeah, but Gail, since you're so good at giving an answer, what if I can't dance and I hate to sing? What would you say as a person who couldn't do those things? If I asked you, how often do you dance or sing? What would you say?
I dance whenever I need to, and I sing if I am obliged to sing.
If I'm obliged to sing. Yeah, so I dance when I have to, and I only sing when I'm obliged to sing. And then we could say why. Could say because I actually have no rhythm at all. Watching me dance is like somebody is having a seizure, and listening to me sing is probably pretty painful. And that would be a good answer too, right?
Everybody would be annoyed
Yeah,
to
everyone would
hear
be
me
annoyed if
sing.
they heard me singing. So good. Thank you for helping those of the people in the chat and in the live stream who can't sing and can't dance, or they hate to sing and they hate to dance, giving them an option to say too. So thank you for that. All right. And so the
Yeah.
next one says, how good are you at dancing or singing? And you said, I'm not that good in dancing, but I think I am good in singing. So here we want to say at dancing and at singing instead of in. we're going to say at. I'm not
Yes.
that good at dancing, but I think I am good at singing. And then that's all you said
Mhm.
to me. So
Oh, I need to expound on that. Oh, sorry. Yes, 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 ma'am.
you can say, as I said before, I love to sing in my church during the worship services. So I think that really shows that I'm talented enough to sing in front of other people or something like that. Because they wouldn't put you in front of the church members if you had a bad voice, right?
Yes, I would
Or I
humbly say
loved how
yes.
you were trying to say, you're trying to say, I'm not that good at dancing, but I think I am good at singing. I'm trying not to brag here, but when people hear me sing, they do tell me that I have a pretty decent voice. And actually, it's always been a dream of mine to maybe be a recording artist one day. And then you can finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss
And
Mandy.
this is
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard to brag about yourself or to toot your own horn, is what we call it. It's really difficult and it's kind of awkward for some people, but this is your test and you need to promote you. So, yeah.
And
And then the next one, does anyone in your family like to show their talent? And you said, oh, yes, almost each of us in our family. And I loved how you said, I'm talking about my family, from my husband to me and my toddler. They love to show their talent. You said, and also my toddler, she loves to dance right now, especially nowadays when on social media, every now and then we can see a lot of people, on TikTok. She loves to imitate or emulate what she sees. So this was a great length right here. This is a good answer. Thank you. Good.
thank you, Mandy.
Does she have her own TikTok channel that we should subscribe to?
Sorry, I had to mute a while ago because my baby is crying.
Are you okay? Do you
Yeah,
need to get her?
I just maybe he can
It's okay. It's part of
be
normal life.
babysitted
It's
for a while.
okay. It's
It's
okay.
okay.
Don't worry about it.
My my elder my daughter, my firstborn, it doesn't have any TikTok channel.
Okay.
Yeah, she dances on TikTok using our account.
Oh, okay. That's very fun. All right, so let's move on to part two. Describe a TV competition that you want to take part in. You should say what the competition is, how you knew about it, what you need to prepare for it, and explain why you want to compete. Um, so here you said a TV competition that I want to participate in, which I know from being part of this group, they're going to scold you and say, do not parrot the question back. So you don't have to turn your microphone on. I know you have the baby in the background, but
Sorry.
no, don't say sorry. I'm just going to, I'm using you as an example because you're very gracious and you seem like you can take criticism without being upset. So try to think of a different way of saying, describe a TV competition that you want to take part in. So we can say competition, or we can say, oh gosh, like a singing, a TV. Oh my gosh,
Contest
the
or
contest. Thank you. I just couldn't think of the word right there. So you can say, a contest that I want to be involved in, or that I want to, put my name in for, or that I want to be chosen for, would be a singing competition, and especially one that's televised or on TV. You said it has been my dream to become a recording artist. Way back when I was in college, I went to an audition and it just didn't go well. It's not that I wasn't accepted, but I think it was not my time. And you said, well, if in my wildest dreams, or if I would be given the opportunity, Gail, drop if I'm given the opportunity and stick to in my wildest dreams. That is a wonderful way of saying it. And you don't have to explain to the examiner what in my wildest dreams means, because they already understand that. So stick with that one. And then it doesn't look like you're repeating. So you can say, if in my wildest dreams, I would, and you kept on going with that. You said, I knew about it because I see it. I watched it from TV shows, a TV network here in the Philippines. And you said, honestly, some people, when they hear me sing, not to brag about it, this is a great clause, not to brag about it, they try to convince me to join a singing contest. But since I'm a mom and working full time, I have discouraged myself to join or from joining. You said, I would
Oh, really?
prepare and condition my voice by doing the things that would be beneficial to my singing. And then we kind of, ran out of time there. But I know you're trying to answer all of those bullet points, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But you seem to have enough to be able to say that you didn't really have to address all of them if you didn't need to. Does that make sense?
Mm,
So you're pretty
yeah.
organized. You answered the overall question, what it is, how you would prepare, why. Your big answer is your why you want to compete, because in the past you've tried it and it's been a dream and people are encouraging you to do it. So, but if you don't have
Mhm.
time to get to those other ones, that's okay too. Just make sure you can kind of have some kind of, if you're able to have some kind of conclusion, um, and you might take that, you know if in my wildest dreams, kind of going back on that. So you can say, in the end, I really hope I will get this opportunity, or in the future when the pandemic is over, I think I'm going to finally, put my feet in the water or jump in full force and give it a try, stop holding myself
That's
back.
true.
So so you can always add that at the end. Okay, so part 3. All right, so this is a very difficult question. Why do you think some employers use competitions as work activities? And you said, employers use this technique for making their employees compete with each other, in my opinion, in order for them to strive for more. And if an employee, and you gave kind of if an employee does this and somebody from that same agency or office is better than he or she, they would strive to be better than the other person. So I think the employers pose this challenge so that they would level up. Here we have a lot of they, and you might want to be specific about the workers would level up. And level up is a really great video game lingo. It's also a new, kind of a newer term that people use a lot more. So you're just saying, take yourself to the next level, like push yourself. Is that what you mean by level
Push
up?
yourself.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
level up
push
is a
yourself.
great thing to say, because
A bit more effort.
everybody's played video games, so they know what level up means. And you also said
I
so
don't
they would
play
level
video
up.
games. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So they would level up, and so that they would better themselves. And that is for the benefit of the whole company or the whole agency. And I really love how you concluded, instead of saying in conclusion, you said, and that is for the betterment of the benefit of the whole company or the whole agency. I can tell by the tone of your voice that you are ending. You're kind of coming down, slowing down your talking, and that means you're going to end. Does that make sense? You might not realize you're
Yes.
doing it, but I hear
Thank
it.
you.
That's okay. And is it a good thing to give prizes to employees who do well at work? You said, well, I think you said this. Well, I think that is the best thing to do when it comes to an office. Like for me, if I did my best work and I finished my job well, if I completed my duties. So here you said the same thing. If I've done my work, completed my job, finished it well, it's the
Yes,
same thing. So here, what
I
did you say?
realized that.
Where are you working at right now?
I am a court employee. I
Okay,
work in a trial court here in the
in the Philippines.
Philippines.
Okay, so you can mention some of the specific things that you do as a court employee. So you can say, for example, if I have completed my job and filed all of the paperwork and returned all phone calls and answered all emails. So those are different things, but it is showing that
Mhm.
you're completing your work.
Mhm.
So as a nurse, I don't know what nurses do very well, but you could say, if I have made all of my rounds and given my medication to all of my patients and written all of my reports and entered them into the computer, I think it is fair enough to receive some incentive. This is what you said, or prize, for example, because that would be a reward. that would make the employee feel satisfied with what she or he does. Not only because she loves her work, she loves doing her job, but also it is the motivation to do better. So, really great answers. You're good at concluding. So good. Just be careful when you say, not only if she loves her work, she loves doing her job. Those are the same thing, just said two different
Wow.
ways. So you are, I bet you're an excellent essay writer, aren't you? Like on your
I,
writing?
I'm not practicing my writing skills of my
Okay.
comedy right now.
I'm
And
gonna guess.
my exam is on Sunday already. This
Oh,
coming
okay.
Sunday.
Well, I'm going to hazard a guess that you might be a very strong writer based on how you speak. It sounds to
I
me
was
like you might read a lot too.
yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I really love to read, and it
Hmm.
wasn't. Yeah, I joined competitions back then in writing competition, essay writings, and newspaper editorial writings.
Yeah.
Not to brag about it.
No, no, I understand. But I just want you to, I know you probably have taken the exam before, but when you get to that part 3, be prepared for them to come at you and at you and at you, question after question after question, with no break in between. They are going to
Mhm,
stop you. So if you're going to be repeating information, then they're going to be like, oh, she's
mhm,
done. So let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. You have a toddler, you know what it's like to be frustrated and have someone come at you, come at you, come at you. So you're going to handle this
yeah.
really well. So, yeah, especially if you work in the court system and you
Or they
used to
like a
work.
toddler.
Yeah, just be like, I have a toddler. I can handle the Ielts. No way. And then this next one is kind of a hard one. So, would you say that professionals or degree holders in your country have become more or less competitive, and why? I never know how to answer this one, but you did a really good job on it. You said, I'm not that observant when it comes to that. So, I'm not that observant when it comes to that. So, how about instead of that and that, you can say, I'm not that observant when it comes to a topic like this or a question like this. Does that
I
make
think
sense?
I said, no,
You
yeah,
might have
mom,
said something different.
I think I said, I'm not that observant when it comes to that issue. I think
Oh,
I
that issue.
said
Okay,
that.
very good. So, how about when it comes to that issue or when it comes to this issue?
This
So, instead of
topic.
saying that
Uh-huh.
multiple times, we can say this issue or an issue such as this. And you said nowadays, I think employees are less competitive now, especially that most of the workers here in the Philippines work from home. We don't see our colleagues that much, or we don't see our colleagues very often, so that the level of competition is not that imminent. So, imminent might not be the best word. The level of competition is
Yeah.
not that high or not that great.
Hi.
Yeah, because if
I
you are,
realized that when I said that.
that's okay. I love the word imminent. You said it perfectly and it's a
Yeah.
beautiful word, but yeah. So yeah, your
It
test
was the
is
first word that
imminent.
popped out.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. You said, so I guess that is the only reason that, so here I'm hearing a lot of that. So I'm going to look at the question, the answer one more time and try to say it without that. You said, I am not too observant when it comes to this issue. Nowadays, I think employees are less competitive, especially now that most of the workers here in the Philippines are working at home. We don't see our colleagues so often, and the level of competition is not extremely high because we are only working with ourselves. I guess this could be one of the main reasons why this friendly competition that we used to have in an office situation has declined. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
that's a very best
it's your
answer,
words. I just took out
Mandy.
all of the that. Good. So things that you do well, remind us, Gail. Say, I can speak well. My pronunciation is great. My fluency is very good. I speak at a very easy rate and I make the people feel comfortable. So just work
Thank
on that
you.
repetition And especially on
That's
part
perfect.
one, I don't know if you have any speaking buddies, but maybe they could give you several part one questions back to back to back and get you to be more concise, shorten your answers just a little bit. So, Jeff,
Thank you,
Well,
Mandy.
yeah. Well, what I can say for Gail is I really admire her because being a mom and then doing this, you know, putting a lot of hard work to pass. So I would like to comment
Thank
for that. That's really a good job. And speaking in front of a lot of people that not everyone wants to do. So good job for that.
thank you,
So like what
Jeff.
Mandy mentioned, on part one, this is also comment from Marvin. For part one, that it's not necessarily to make it long. Just 2 to 3 sentence,
Yeah.
direct and very clear. That would be enough
Mhm.
because the tendency will just go around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Thank
just
you. Oh,
answer direct yes or no and then why. Only like that. That will be safe.
yes. Sir.
And then you, according to Marvin, you have a good tonality. And then part two, quite and make it more little bit lively, but you are really pleasant when you're talking. And for part three, make it organized as for Marvin. So in part three, you can do the Oreo strategy, like the opinion, reason, example, and then your conclusion. So like, so that's it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah. So you think you really you're gonna do well.
Thank you. I hope so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's move on to our next candidate from international group,
Thank you.
Kiran. Thank you. Hi, Kiran. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah,
Can you hear
Kiran,
me?
please tell us what's your name, where you from, and what do you do for living?
Myself, Kiran. I'm a primary teacher. I'm working in one of the renowned school of the city. So yeah, now I'm going to give my IELTS very soon.
Okay, where are you right now? In Mumbai,
No, no, no. I'm in Gurgaon. It's very close to the capital of the
Delhi.
Delhi. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Mandy, I'll give you Kiran now.
okay.
Are you
Hello,
ready?
Kieran. How are you?
Hi, Mandy. How are you? I'm fine. How are
I'm
you?
good. What age do you teach? What you said you're a primary school teacher. What
Yeah, yeah.
age?
Primary, grade one and two. I'm dealing with grade one and two, 5 to 6, 7 years old.
Okay, okay. I have a 7-year-old, so she's going into grade two.
Oh, great.
Yeah, very exciting here.
Really
All right, well,
well.
let's go ahead and get started. Is it Kieran or Kiran?
No, it's Kiran.
Kieran. Okay, great. Thank you. Do you like long or short vacations?
Basically, I love the long vacations because my schedule is very hectic. Being a teacher, I have to do a lot of research work and, dealing with the younger kids. It's such a hectic job. And I want the long vacations like summer break and winter break. These are my favorite ones.
Good. And when was the last time you went on a beach?
It was, I think, so a decade back, around 10 years old, and it was Andaman and Nicobar. So it's a very beautiful place, and there are a lot of picturesque uh, views. So I really keep it, always in my heart that place because I did a lot of relaxing activities over there, and I went there with my husband and my son.
Good. And do you prefer day or night swimming?
Actually, I don't like swimming, but if I get an opportunity to go, so I love to do the day swimming because I can enjoy the surroundings, and obviously the it gives me the energy and boost up my confidence because during the day I have seen a lot of coaches are available, so they can guide me easily.
Very good. All right, we're going to move on to part two. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it into the chat and Jeff's going to put it on the screen for you. And I will read it out loud as soon as it comes up. All right, so Kieran, describe a famous person who you most admire. You should say who that person is. Has that person done something special in society? Where that where that person is now, and explain why you admire him or her so much. And you can have a minute to prepare. Okay, and that is 1 minute. And when you are ready, you can begin giving your answer.
Um, well, there are many persons in my life where whom admires me a lot. But today I would like to talk about the Abdul Kalam. So he was the 11th president of India, and he was very renowned person. So I was admired. I will admire him a lot because he has done a lot of. He has upgraded our education system a lot. He loved children and. He was the good philanthropist as well, and he is no more in between us, but his memories always will be and his words always will be a motivation and encouragement encourages words for us, and we will never ever forget him because of his good deeds, whatever he has done for the society, and still people are missing him, and he has wrote a lot of books, and I really admire him because I have recently read a book about the four fight. So it was about the society. So whatever the question he got at, whatever the people are, whatever the challenges people are facing nowadays, and even the before. So he has the solution and he give the practical knowledge over all the questions. He was very educated and he was a scientist as well. So he has done a lot of research, and I think so. Our he plays a very important role in a society, even in the youth. So everyone's, I think so, admire him a lot just because of his good work, whatever he has done for the community. So I am very fascinating about him because of his books. So it gives me a lot of encouragement and the motivation to do a lot of good things. Being a teacher, I can understand whatever he has done. So that was absolutely,
That's
good
the time.
for.
I'm sorry. Someone's calling me at the same time and my timer won't go off. so so please stop calling me. Sorry, I don't know who this is. But being a teacher, and you said a little bit more there. So can you finish that sentence for me? Being a teacher.
Being a teacher, I got a lot of motivation from him, and I think so. I will definitely do some good deeds for the society, whatever he wanted to do. And yes, if I'll get in this opportunity, definitely I'll do that to educate the privileged children, which
Very
is my
good.
that was his dream.
Excellent. All right. And let's move on to part three. How has the size of the family changed in the last few decades in your country?
Um, I think so. In the previous time, so there was a joint families. People love to live in the joint families, but due to the unemployment. People are moving towards the cities, and the joint families are converted in the nuclear families. And now I think so. Unemployment is the biggest reason where the people are moving and turning into the nuclear families because and secondly, I think so. People don't want, especially youth, don't want to live with the older generations. I think so. They have there is the generation gap. So I think so. These are the reasons. So people don't want to, especially live in the joint family.
Excellent. And how do you think the family will change in the future?
Definitely, families will change in future because of the various reasons. So first of all, as I mentioned, employment, because people are moving towards the cities, and there is a lot of employment are there, a lot of higher salary job they are getting there. And if I talk about the countryside, so people are not well versed with the education and the other amenities like education system is not good, health infrastructure is also not good. So for example, if I talk about 20 years back, I just came here in Gurugram and settled because my father was a businessman, and then we settled here just because of the livelihood. So that is very important thing. Wherever we are getting the opportunity, so people are moving there. So I think so. All in all, the these generation gap will come and people will change.
Good. And why is the number of joint families decreasing in modern times? I know you already answered this. I think you read my mind. But yeah, can you tell me why do you think the number of joint families is decreasing?
Uh, well, there are various reasons. I just mentioned it. First of all, the livelihood. So they wanted to earn more and more money, and they wanted to stand on their own. They don't want to dependent on their parents. So this is the I think so. And secondly, people are more into. They don't want anyone to uh, give the stress. So because nowadays some people, and if we are living in the joint family, so there is a lot of responsibilities. They are not able to hold that responsibility of the full family. So for various reasons, so because the salary is less, so they are not able to survive, or they are not able to take that burden of the family. So that is
Okay.
why I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is why I think so. People are just moving in the nuclear family, not.
Okay. I'm going to go off of script here since you kind of had the same question that you already answered. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
See, this is I'm into two minds because sometimes everything has a positive and negative. So if you're asking the same questions again, I think so maybe my mind will divert, some and get the some other answers. So I think so. Both the reasons can be done for that because it's good and it's bad also. So everything has the advantages and disadvantages.
Very good. All right. That concludes the speaking portion of your test. Very good. Excellent job. Thank you, Kieran. So, how did you feel about these questions? Do you feel like you could answer them pretty well? I mean, I know what I think. What did you think?
I think I'm thinking I should have more time to think about it because whatever, which is not I'm having. So because it was very, frequently happen the thing.
Yeah, it happens very quickly, right?
Yeah, the questions were it's bombarded on me
They
like
do
this.
bombard you, and that's good. If anyone out here is practicing with speaking buddies or things like that, or has a tutor or, a coach, make sure they try to give you that same pressure that you would feel during the IELTS because you're going to feel that. I had a student who he just took his IELTS and he said that was the quickest and longest 15 minutes of my life. It was, it made him feel very rushed, but it also seemed like it took forever. So it was very difficult, but he got through it. So I would say that your pronunciation, except for the word opportunity, when we'll go over the word opportunity, and maybe a few other small slips. And I think that might be due to your mother tongue versus mispronunciation, which accents are completely allowed. I have no accent because I've lived in too many places in the United States. So I don't really have an accent. So that's hard for me to say, but people who speak English do not have to speak English the same way that I do. Does that make sense? There are accents all over the world, and that's very normal. So your accent is very minimal, but I can still tell you still have your cultural identity, if this is what I'm trying to say. And I think that's a good thing to be able to speak English, but still have that identity of where you're from in Gugal, right?
Gurgaon. Yeah.
Gugal.
It's
Okay,
Gurgaon.
sorry, I say the
Yeah.
name really poorly. um, the only thing that I would really stress to you before you have your test is to maybe slow down just a little bit. You are teaching children who are younger, first graders and second graders. So when you're talking to them, you probably have to slow yourself down to talk to them, right? So you're going to be speaking to an examiner and just kind of pretend that maybe they are a child, you know, slow yourself down to talk. And that way you don't have to say so much, but your pronunciation will sound wonderful. It will be, it seems like you're not rushed. And then you can kind of calm yourself down too. So we can add some intonation in there. You said, basically, I love the long vacations because my schedule is very hectic. I have, and you said, I want a long vacation, like a summer break and a winter break. Those are my favorites. And I loved your answers here in part one. They were short to the point and you were bam and done. This was great. So you did a really good job. And then I asked the next one, when was the last time you went to the beach? You said it was, so I think a decade back. It was a very beautiful place and there are a lot of picturesque views. And I always keep this in my heart, or I always have always kept this in my heart because it was such a special time. Because you went there with your husband and your son, right? Is that what you said? Or your child? Um, and then I did want to point out when you said the word schedule, you said it like, can you pronounce it for me the way you do a British pronunciation?
Schedule.
Schedule? Yeah. So anyone listening, you can say schedule and you can say schedule. You can say it both ways, right, Kieran? Because didn't the British occupied India at one point, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe for a little too long. But yeah, you can definitely say schedule and schedule. They're both acceptable. So those are just more different accents in case anyone cared. And then the next one, do you prefer day or night swimming? You have a great answer here. Actually, I don't like swimming. So I could hear it in your voice when you were talking. You said, actually, I don't like swimming, but if I get an opportunity. So here's a good place for you to pause. Actually, pause. I don't like swimming. Pause. But pause. If I get an opportunity. So it sounds silly when I say pause, pause, pause. It sounds ridiculous. But if you say it without the pauses and you just pause, like, actually, I don't like swimming. But if I get an opportunity and it kind of slows you down just a little bit, does that make sense? All right, let's talk about the word opportunity. Can you say opportunity for me?
Opportunity.
Good. And I hear a lot of people say chew, like the number two. You can say opportu, like number two, or you can say opportunity. So opportunity. So it has the tune is the one that's kind of stressed. Opportunity. So instead of opportunity, it's opportunity. You said, because I can enjoy the surroundings. And obviously, it gives me an energy and boost of my confidence. So you have some great vocabulary here when you talked about picturesque. It's a beautiful place. You have an opportunity. You talked about the surroundings. And I liked how you said, obviously. That's a good word to throw in there. So, very good job. And then the next one, I cannot pronounce the name of this scholar that you mentioned, and I apologize. So I'm just going to say
Abdul
his
Kalam.
name instead of saying his name. You said, well, there are many, and that's a good way to start off. There are many people that I admire, or many famous people who I admire. But today I'd like to talk about the. This is a great strategy, Kieran, and I love that you used it so you can show it to everybody else. So if I said, Tell me about a building that you love. Well, there are many buildings that I admire, but I'd like to talk about this. Tell me about a time when you couldn't use your cell phone. Well, as we all know, we can use our cell phone a lot, but let me tell you about this one story. So this is a great strategy. Give a overall summary and then go into your specific story. And you said he is the 11th president of India, and you said I admire him a lot because he has upgraded the education systems a lot, and he loved children. So here you say he has and he loved. So you don't have to have the has there. So you can say he upgraded because it's something that he already did in the past. And unfortunately, he has passed away. Is that what you said? He's no longer with us. Um, and you said he is no more in between us. So instead of saying he is no more in between us, we typically say he is no longer among us. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah.
He is no longer among us, or he is no longer with us. And that is a polite way of saying someone is dead. Because when you say the word dead, people are like, oh, that doesn't sound very nice. So, if I said, oh, is your grandfather still with us? And you would say, oh, he's no longer with us, or he is no longer among us. So that's what somebody would say rather than saying, oh, yeah, he's dead. Yeah, passed away. Chris is another good way of saying that. Thank you. So you said he is no longer with us, but his memories and his words will always be an encouragement for us. And we will never ever forget him, what he did for us. So when you say us, Kieran, you're saying us a lot, and that's okay because you're talking about people in general. But I do like later when you get more personal and you say I. And you said he has wrote a lot of books. So we're going to say he has written. So he has written a lot of books. Or, and if you want to say has, so it's has written or just he wrote. So let's say that together. He has written a lot of books, or he wrote a lot of books. Which one would you like to use?
Yeah, he has written a lot of books.
He has
He
written.
wrote a lot
Okay.
of books,
I think
yeah.
that sounds more natural to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has written a lot of books, and I really admire him because I have recently read a book. Um, and you said, with whatever the challenges people are facing, he has the solution and he gives practical advice. He was also a scientist as well. So he has done a lot of research and he plays a very important role in society. So here you're saying he has done a lot of research. Just make sure, because he is no longer living, he was a scientist and he had done a lot of research and he played a very important role in society. You said, I'm very fascinating about him. So I'm very fascinated with him. I am very fascinated with him. Or you can say, he fascinates me, something like that. I'm very fascinated with him. And I loved how you ended. Being a teacher, I got a lot of motivation, or I have gotten a lot of motivation from him. So I think I will definitely. And then you went to talk about in the future. So your tenses, you go past tense, present tense, future tense. You're showing off this whole time. So good job. Very good. So that we just have those one slips he has written, and the other one, I have gotten a lot of motivation. So I have gotten. Get is an irregular verb. So if you get something, you can, I get it, I got it, or I have gotten it. And let's move on to part 3, where I said, has the size of the family changed in the last few decades in your country? You said, I think so. In the previous times, so there was joint families. So there were joint families, and people loved to live in the joint families. But due to unemployment, people are moving to the cities, and joint families are turned into nuclear families. And we've had this before in the past, but Kieran, tell me, what is a joint family and what is a nuclear family if people don't know those words?
Joint family means where all the members of the family live together, and nuclear family is like my son, my husband, and my children and my husband.
Yeah,
That
so
is the
there's
main
no extended family,
No
no
extended.
grandparents, no aunts and uncles, no cousins. Yeah, thank you for giving me those words. Good, they were great vocabulary. You said, but due to unemployment, people are moving to the cities and joint families are turned into nuclear families. And secondly, I think that especially youth don't want to live with the older generation. So you gave two answers in a really short amount of time, but they were very well developed. So good here. And I like you have a lot of good connectors and discourse markers. You said in the previous times due to unemployment. And secondly, and then you have some, you said, and secondly, I think especially youth don't want to live. So you have some good clauses in there as well. So good complex sentences. Do you teach English to your first and second graders?
No, no. It is SSC, social studies. I'm a social studies.
Okay,
It's
so you teach
EBS, same
history?
grade. I'm not teaching the senior kids. I'm teaching the younger ones. So it's environmental studies.
Okay, okay, wonderful. All right, and the last two questions. How do you think the family will change in the future? And you said definitely families will change in the future because people are moving towards the cities and there are a lot of higher salary jobs there. And if I talk about the countryside, people are not well versed with other things. And you said the health, the education, and the infrastructure is not that good. For example, if I talk about 20 years back, I just have been here in Golgram and settled here because of your father's, job opportunity. So you said, I think all in all, the generation gap, you talked about the generation gap will contribute to families changing. And then the last one, the last two, where I kind of gave you a question that wasn't prepared ahead of time. Why is the number of joint families decreasing in modern times? And do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing? So I want to go to your last answer because you already said, well, there are various reasons. I just mentioned the first of all, the livelihood, and they don't want to depend on their parents. And secondly, because people are more into, they don't want to give the stress because nowadays, if they're living in joint families, there's a lot of responsibilities. So there are various reasons. And then you said, I'm in two minds um, because sometimes everything has a positive and a negative. And I think if I'm asked this question again, I will divert and get a different answer. And I think both of the reasons, can be positive or negative. So I really like what you said here. You kind of said, you didn't really um I didn't throw you off with this question. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? You had a good way of saying it's not good and it's not bad. So it can be either, just depending on what reason. So really good answer. Did Jeff or Marvin want to give any? I feel like they're gone. But
I'm
there
still
we
here.
go. Okay, there you go. I felt like I was the only one in the
No,
room, me
no,
and
no.
Kieran. But Kieran has such great vocabulary and very good developed ideas. I would just recommend slowing down just a tad. So, and Jeff, did you have anything or
Okay, yeah,
Marvin?
yeah. I think Marvin, yeah, essentially. Okay, for Kiran, so on your part two, you keep mentioning only like a bullet type, he and he. So maybe you can try to put a little bit connector, so or put it in a one sentence, and so it will not be look like a bullet type.
Okay.
And then part three, it's the you have also and repetition. So please, maybe you're just nervous, like what you said.
Probably because I did a lot of preparation and I think so I was under stress.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't release whatever I wanted to say because a lot of vocabulary words I had, but I couldn't use that properly. And I used I did some grammar mistakes.
yeah. So
Not too many though.
well, I think that's normal, and it's good that you experience that here rather on the actual exam. So at least now you can rewatch this and see how do you perform when you feel like nervous.
Yeah.
Thank
Do
you
you
so much.
understand what Jeff means by on part two when you said he loved children and he is no longer among us and he did this, he wrote a lot of books and he was a scientist. So instead of saying he at the beginning, we can say, in addition to these accomplishments, this man also did that. And even above and beyond that, he was a scientist as well. So just changing it from he being your first word to putting some of those different beginnings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. And
I'm
last
happy to
one
listen.
for your part 3, because I think on the last question you are already mad with the examiner. I don't want to answer that. So question is still
All the questions
Kiran,
are-
question is still a question. You cannot question the question. Okay. So even if you answer that, you need to give you need to complete the answer. So if you are saying that you're in between, well, at least give a reason. And that's fine. As long as you explain. Okay.
Sorry
Thank
that
you
I
so
gave you the
much.
same question.
Thank you
But
so
yeah,
much,
I
but
agree.
I tried.
Yeah, you did try, and that's very good. Trying is half of the battle, right? So very good job, Kieran. I'm excited for you. When is your exam?
My exam is on 19th. I don't
Okay.
know about speaking, but all the 3 modules are on 19th of August.
Okay. So the speaking can be on a different day.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
good.
not
Well,
sure
we wish
when
you
it
the
is.
best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
Mandy. Thank you so
Kiran.
much, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay,
Bye.
so
Wonderful
now,
experience.
yeah, thank you. So now, Mandy, we have the first candidate who was working in the court, and then you have teacher Kiran. So I'm still looking for a nurse. Where are the nurses? This is some Filipino nurse group, so I would like to call Marilu. Marilu, you're the savior of the night. Hello, Marilu's iPhone. She's here. Hi, Marilu.
I can see her, but not hear her.
Yes, Marilu.
So the mute is still on.
Okay. Marilu, if you can hear us, please. Yeah. I will ask you to unmute. Hello, Marilu. Yeah. She left.
No, she's still there.
She's still here.
It just has mute on.
Okay, Marilu.
Yes.
Yeah, where are you?
Yay!
Can we see you? Where are you?
I see her.
Okay.
Hello.
So you are our savior of the night. So good. Are you a nurse?
Yeah, actually, I'm
Yeah.
in duty right now.
Okay. Is it
Oh,
fine
no.
to do the mock?
Yeah,
Because
I will try. But
okay,
I
we
have
don't want to lose
patience.
your job. Okay.
Yes, keep your job.
Okay.
Always keep your job.
Let's go.
All right. So, Marilu, what kind of dining place did you have when you were a child?
Okay, she got lost.
I think so. Maybe she had to go with a patient.
Yeah. Okay, I will just call on another Filipino nurse because if not, maybe you can end this. So who wants to do the mock test now? Please raise your hand. Hello, Mimi, Sherry May, Jenny, Jonah. Okay, I will just count, and then if you don't like, maybe we can end this.
No problem.
Yeah.
But I want to know, what was it like when you had dinner as a child?
Come again with you.
The first
I
question
put
I
on
want to
the-
know, while we're counting down and waiting, what kind of dining place did you have when you were a little boy?
Well, I grew, I'm not a rich, they didn't grow up in a rich family. So we just have a simple table made of wood. And then prior to that, we also eat on the ground, on the floor,
Mhm.
same like some other Asian, but we don't have anything, it's not carpeted one. So yeah, that's how we ate back when those days.
Yeah, no, I love it. Some restaurants have what they call family style eating, where everybody gets a plate. And then we've also talked about buffet style, where you like get up and you go get your food and you bring it back. So did
Well,
you
I
guys?
think that's not a family style. It's just being you're poor.
Yeah, let's just call it family style.
Okay, so let's go on. Okay, Grace, Asunta, Anthony, don't want to call all your names, so just please raise your hand. Okay, so I think no one wants to do the mock test.
That's
And
okay.
unfortunately, Mariluz, she's on duty. So yeah, thank you, Mandy. By the way, what happened to your hand? Do you have your...
Oh, yes. So I had a student before you all, and I was working with her. She's working on saying things with the sound versus things with the R sound.
Okay, so now please tell us what's the technique.
So we were trying to say the word hurry, and she kept saying hurry. So I was saying, okay, now I want you to say hurry or hurry, and I'll lift up my hand and I'll guess which one you're trying to say. So I don't know. It was something silly.
Okay.
So
So yeah, thank you so much, Mandy, and to all our participants and members. So are we gonna see you next week?
I will be same place, same time. Yeah, I have it on my
Okay.
calendar.
So yeah, thank you so much and have a great night. Stay safe. Thank you,
Bye.
Mandy.
See ya.